Hello, everybody. I've had a lot of requests to do a Joseki video. I decided the first Joseki that we would look over would be the double Hane Joseki. And that kind of just looks like this for those that don't know. And basically what happens is we get this double Hane from black, and black goes for the corner while white takes a Panuki on the outside. However, we're not going to be going over everything with this Joseki. What I really want to focus on is when white plays this extension at C18. And now you'll commonly see this, and a lot of people don't actually know why it's played. And so what will happen is black will play here at B18, and people see this white move at C18 as a waste of a code threat, but that's not true. It's actually not a waste of a code threat. It's actually making a code threat bigger. And before we actually look further at this, I want to show you a really common way that it gets used badly, um, which is going to be here. And so this is not a professional game. This is a game between that I just set up. This is just a game, a position that I set up here. And basically, we can see that white tries to approach here, black kicks it, and white makes a simple extension. This is very, very common, even at like a mid to high dawn level. They play this and they do it really early. And what happens is they wait until the board's kind of filled up, and then they're just like, oh, I really need a good way on the, onto into the bottom of the board, so I'm going to play this here. Um, but this is a really big waste of Aji. There are much better ways to use this extension here at C18. And it kind of leads back to what we talked about where we're making a co-threat bigger. And so I went ahead and prepared two positions that show you guys where this could make or break your game. And so we'll go ahead and look at the first one between Shibano Toramaru and Yang Dingjin. Probably butchered that name, hopefully not. And so we'll go about, let's see, about here. And so we can see that black chooses to make this extension here at C2. And it's kind of like, why play this move now? Our opponent was in the lower right of the board just a moment ago, so why are we randomly playing Tanuki up here? And that's because Black said, I know that the only way you can live here is through a ko. And I know that might make people think, well, isn't that a better reason to save our ko threats? But what if C2 isn't a big enough ko threat? What if in itself it's not a big enough ko threat? And so what ends up happening is we go forward to get our ko. We go forward to get our ko. And so here's our ko. And so black can make this ko threat now. And it's a really big one because if we just take this, what ends up happening is black Kane's here, and black gets a lot of value out of this corner. A lot of value out of that corner. As to where in what actually happens in the game is white responds here. White has to. It's a very big corner. We can't just give it up. Um, So that allows black to take it back. But what happens if we never made that extension at C2? What happens if we never played that? Well, now black's threat is just C2. It's just that. But what happens if we just take it? If you remember in the other position, we could play this move. And then we could play this Hane at E3. But in this case, we can't do that. We actually have to go back now to B2 and capture these stones in Gote. And now the threat just simply is neutralized and it's not big enough. And so that's why in this case, black chooses to make that extension so they have a big enough code threat. And we'll go ahead and look at another one where this position is also true. And this one is Chen Hao versus Lian Xiao. We're going to go ahead and skip forward, make sure I'm on the right tree here. And we can see in this case, black does the same thing here. They know that a ko is coming, so they extend. They ask white, how committed to these stones are you? White says, I'm very committed to those stones. And so then they start this ko. And so you can see in this case, White chooses to just capture, and black says, I'm happy with this result. You can live, and I get your corner over here. And now what happens if they never had that? Well, now they run into the issue where if black just extends here and white takes, the value that black gets is now similar to the last position that we looked at. Black's only going to get the corner, and white gets to make an extension here on the bottom of the board. And just so we're covering all of our bases, what about if in a situation where white just chooses not to respond to this? What if they just choose to go back and live? So the problem is that with this is that it was already likely that white was going to live. So in a case where this happens, this is already good enough for black. Black already gained value here. Black already got enough value just by simply playing this way. And black did not have to sacrifice any strength here. So it's hard for people to just simply give up this position. So you will often see the player respond here with S2. Now we'll go back to one other situation where this can be moved. I have a game here, Jiang Weiji versus Shi Yu, because sometimes we don't always have the opportunity to play a ko in our game. And so there must be other ways that we can utilize this position. And we can see that black comes in here to basically make an invasion. And this is why we don't want to waste our Aji right away. Because in a situation like this b14 stone is actually really important. But the game may be very different if we play it too late. And so here we can see that black utilizes the Aji here now to play c15. Very powerful move. Because if white tries to cut here, what ends up happening is black will Atari, white can take or extend, either one. Black can extend as well to put these two stones into Atari. White will extend, black will again Atari. And we can see that these stones are captured now. But what happens if they just capture the stone? We'll go ahead with that variation as well. And you can see that it ends in a similar result. White ends up dying. So that is why we hold on to that Aji to try to find a more favorable position rather than just simply making an extension, right? We don't want to just simply extend. And or we don't want to basically just make an extension on the board that may not have much value, like in the position that we were looking at here, where there really isn't a lot of value in simply extending here. It's very negligible, and black would rather just play somewhere else on the board. They probably wouldn't really think too much from white doing this. And yeah, well, hopefully I was able to clear up any confusion as to why white extends here. And maybe you will now start extending in your games, and you will be able to utilize this to your advantage in co-fights. And if you liked the video, please subscribe. And yeah, if you liked the video, please subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out, and I would like to continue doing more videos. Thank you for watching, and bye.